Here we are, March 2025. Here at New Vision Center, we are in a new month in our annual theme. Our annual theme, of course, is reaching higher, growing deeper. And for the first 2 months, we have been doing a lot of reaching, yes? Did you feel that we were reaching in the first months when we talked about stretching into possibilities? I don't know about you, but I felt a stretch. I did. I really did. And then last month, we talked about radical interconnectedness. Radical interconnectedness. What does that really mean? How can we step a little bit more into that? How can we experience that more in our own individual lives? And that brings us to March. And our theme in March is the flow of coming and going. I like it better when it's coming. I don't know about you. I like it when the flow of good is coming, when abundance is coming towards me, when love is coming towards me, when joy, when connection, when opportunity to celebrate is coming towards me. And then there's the going, right? That's the moments when opportunities for growth are coming towards me. That's how I've learned to switch it around a little in my head. To look at when things are leaving, when things are coming to a completion, to look at it as an opportunity for me to change, to shift something, for I understand that this teaching is a constant invitation for us to navigate the tides of life with more grace, with more ease, with more tools, with more confidence, with more fill in for you. What would you like to navigate the tides of life better with? See, this teaching, I always like to point that out. When we engage and when we make ourselves available to walk a path of faith, a spiritual path of expansion, it does not mean that life changes from the outside. What does that mean? It means conflict, betrayal, challenges, diagnoses. It's all going to still happen. What is different when we say, this is the path I am choosing, is that we are better equipped to move with those tides. And that is what we're going to talk about today. And I want to start with something that is in the Tao Te Ching, that wonderful book that Lao Tzu is said to have written before the Common Era. I think it was last week I quoted Marcus Aurelius, who was like in 200, 300 in the Common Era. So we're going backwards. We're going really into ancient wisdom. And here is what Lao Tzu said: have faith in the way things are. Have faith in the way things are. Now, on the surface, one could say, well, yeah. And then, I don't know about you, but have you ever found yourself really reeling and being almost angry or frustrated at the way things are. Yes, I see some heads. Let's all close our eyes so we don't see when the other person is saying yes. 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 Right? And so that is what we are going to explore today. And my invitation right up front is for you to take on for this next half an hour this idea of accepting the way things are. And actually, I would like to invite you to do that through the whole week. And notice when are the moments that it is easy. You know, this is wonderful. We are in a sanctuary. There is beautiful music. There's inspirational talks. It's easy to accept this moment. But what if you find yourself in traffic later, right? Or whatever is happening. So the idea, the invitation is for this whole week, I invite you to be mindful of how you are reacting to the way things are. And I really invite you to let me know. I've been practicing this all week long, and I can tell you I had a full week. Let's say I had a very, very full week. And I noticed the moments when I'm like, I don't know how to do this one, Spirit. I am just going to accept and lean into how things are. And it worked out beautifully. I thought I would give you an example of this idea of accepting how things are, loving how things are. As you have heard, we just had our vision group retreat, which happens once a year. And a big part of that retreat is that the Leadership Council members are invited to self-select the role that they want to have this following year. Now, anyone who has been in business or has ever worked with a board can understand it would be a lot easier to say, oh, these are your qualifications, I want you to do this, and I want you to do that, and I want you to do this, and I want you to do that. I can tell you my Germanness really likes that. But that is not how we have done it here for more years than I have been involved in this community. No. The way the process works here at New Vision Center is that those 8 beloveds are choosing how they want to serve, which one of those roles they would like to fulfill this coming year. And the way it looks is often in the first round that this happens, there are 4 people for one position and 0 for another position. And we go through this process over and over with support of the practitioners, with the support of really hearing the call that is placed on the heart, without fixing it, without saying, well, you just need to do this and you need to do that, and then we can all go home. We don't do that. And so that, for me, is such an example of accepting, loving the way things are. This process, I didn't come up with this. It has been with the center for probably since it was started. It has always been that way. And so I think we have a picture of the Leadership Council retreat. I just wanted everyone to see that is our beloved vision group. And I think the only one we don't have on here is Tom Rose and Alan Raymond, but everybody else is in the vision group. Let's give them a hand. So have faith in the way things are. And from the very get-go, I would like to tell you that having faith in the way things are has a partner. And that is having faith in who you are. Having faith in who I am. Let's just all say that together. I'm having faith in who I am. Yes. Because life brings us constant opportunities. It's almost as if life is saying, so who are you in the face of this? Who are you when this happens? Who are you when you get that phone call? And so I feel that it would behoove us to have perhaps a tool that we could lean into, that we could remind ourselves with when life is asking us, and who do you think you are in this situation, so that we can respond consciously and perhaps with a different choice than we usually do. Does that sound like a good idea to talk about that? Yeah, how could we respond and relate to life differently? And what I came up with is this idea to wake up, heal up, and open up. And if you look, you see what those first letters spell out. So that can always help us. Because who can we change? Who has the power to change their own lives? Who? Me. Yeah. So let's take a look at that. Wake up. What do we want to wake up? We want to wake up to the creative power that we have within us. We want to wake up to the fact that often we respond to things with judgment and with belief and with sentences perhaps like, this shouldn't be this way. I invite you to take a moment and connect with something in your own life. It's going to make it so much more powerful. Where do you find yourself in that situation, always responding with a limiting response? With this feeling that I have no power over this, the power is somewhere on the outside. For many, it is traffic. As funny as that sounds. But if you place yourself in traffic, it can feel like the power is outside of your own car. Yes? Those drivers, springtime in Scottsdale, I tell you, whew. So that could be an area. Perhaps somebody who is representing a personality that you're having a challenge with. Notice how you judge and perceive certain situations, people, and circumstances. And what we want to wake up to is the fact that the way we respond is either empowering or it is chaining us. It has nothing to do with what's happening. It has everything to do how I respond to it. And so the wake up is really waking up to where are my thoughts going? Waking up to what is happening right now. Lifting ourselves out of the situation and becoming the observer and seeing us, how do I respond right now? Waking up. Waking up to what it is that I am doing. I love to tell you it's easy. It's not. It's hard. Because our personality, our ego, does not even want us to entertain the idea that there's a different way of responding and relating to life. Because our ego and our personality is very much interested in the status quo, the way things are. And yet, we all find ourselves in this sanctuary, joining this talk that is a Centers for Spiritual Living, a place where lives are transformed, and that comes with change. So when you are in a situation that you are waking up to, oh, I have been doing this over and over and over the same way. When you're waking up to that, I so want you to approach yourself with compassion. Reach out to a beloved. Reach out to a practitioner. Reach out to a minister. The moments when we are waking up, they can be very challenging. And how grateful I am to know that there are so many opportunities here for us to be supported during that process of waking up. Next Wednesday in our midweek spiritual connection, Reverend Leslie and Maureen Garrity are facilitating a Fear to Faith workshop. If you are having an area in your life where you feel like fear has you reacting a certain way, and it is hard to get out of that, I strongly invite you to check that out. Come and join those beloveds. It's a Fear to Faith project, workshop. So waking up, what is an area where you want to have a more awake experience? And then when we are awake, we're turning towards heal up. Heal up. Everything, every wound, every experience that we have ever had, unless that wound is healed, it is calling forth more experience of the same nature. Let's breathe into that. All of the sages tell us that. Ancient wisdom tells us that. Until we find a way to heal and therefore not have the wound attract more of it, until then, we are in a prison of our own making. And so the heal up is really the invitation to take a look at healing practices. If we would be in a classroom, I would say, and what are some of the healing practices that we know? And people would shout out. Daily substantial spiritual practice. I heard forgiveness, meditation, things that help us understand that there's a place within us that has never been hurt, that has always been whole, perfect, and complete, and to allow that place to rise up more to the surface in communion with the divine of our own understanding. That is really what heals. That is what heals. And so we woke up, we are understanding what we can do to heal up, and then the O stands for open up. Open up. I believe that all of those beloveds who have their armors so tight around them is because they're protecting their tender heart that has been hurt. And it takes bravery, and it takes, I believe, a loving community. It takes a supportive net for us to truly open up, to have connections where deep calls unto deep. When we are able to open up, we are amazed how this infinite universe with infinite possibilities serves us. How it dishes out solutions that we couldn't have even seen before. I want to share this one story that I heard about this. When we are in the flow, some people call it the power zone. It's where we have faith in the way things are, and then the universe surprises us. So this is the story of police officer Terrell Potter, and he lived in a small Alabama town. For many years, he served there as a police officer. And in the time frame from 2007 to 2012, he arrested a young woman by the name of Jocelyn James 16 times. Jocelyn was addicted. She was dealing drugs. She was getting in trouble left and right. And so Officer Potter arrested her this many times. Well, unbeknownst to him, the last time he arrested her and she was in prison, she had an awakening, and a transformative awakening, and was able to turn her life around. And that was actually the very last time she was ever arrested. And once she was released, she became sober and clean, and she started a place called Grace Place in 2019 that was a place where specifically women could come to heal from addiction. Well, fast forward a couple of years, Officer Potter was now out of the police force, and he got a diagnosis that his kidneys were failing and that he needed to receive a kidney transplant, but unfortunately it would be 6 to 7 years out, and he wouldn't have that time to receive a transplant. So the family did what they could. They spread the word out all over the southeast of the United States. They put the word out. And it so happened that Jocelyn was looking on her Facebook feed, and she saw that. And immediately she knew, this is mine to do. It is mine to give, to see, at least to explore. Is it mine to give this police officer my kidney? And she did. She did. She contacted, she was a match, and she gifted him the gift of life. Now, who could have foreseen that, right? Other than Hollywood, maybe. But I don't even know that Hollywood could. We would see that in a film, and we would say, oh, come on, come on. But did you know, and do you know, that this is how the universe works? If we have faith in the way things are, and if we trust that there's a power for good that is greater than I am, that is infinite, and that has access to infinite solutions. That was probably done before breakfast on a Monday morning for the universe. Let me just go ahead and do this. It all starts with our beliefs. Do I open myself up to the possibility of the infinite good being bestowed upon me, upon my beloveds, my tribe, my community, my country, my world. There's this quote, it is often attributed to Emerson, but it's actually not Emerson who said this, but rather it is Henry Hawkins, and it says this: what lies behind us and what lies ahead of us is tiny, are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And that's really what we're talking about. The choice to make, do I let myself be controlled by circumstances, or do I trust that what I have within, my connection to the infinite, is going to move me along on this thing we called life? That's really the answer. That's the question. That's really the question. The question is, am I willing to trust so completely that the power is within me to move through any kind of circumstance with people who are challenging me, and so have faith in the way things are gives us an opportunity to evaluate our part. This last month we have looked at the universe does what the universe does. God does not need our evaluation. Life happens. The only thing we are empowered to change is what comes from within us. And so the invitation again for this week, practice having faith in the way things are, to not reel against what is happening, but rather to see, is there a difference that I can make within, is there a shift that I can make within to understand what is happening a little differently. And so it is. Well, let's take that into prayer. And so I invite you to just drop your awareness into the center of your being. Just breathing in, recognizing that the allness of life is right here, right in the very heart of where we are. We recognize peace and love, joy and opportunity. And as we are noticing that a peace that defines all understanding is coming over us, we recognize that we truly are one, that there is no separation. And it is from this place that I speak my word. I speak my word for the clarity, for the path unfolding with ease and grace for all of the beloveds who have ever been part of New Vision Center or who call this place home or friend. All the beloveds who have placed their prayer request into our prayer ministry. Take a moment and absolutely know the perfect unfolding of every request, every affirmation, everything that is uttered in our hearts. And as we walk this path, I know that the divine is offering up tools, solutions, connections, love for us to find our path. And so it is with a grateful heart that I simply call this good and very, very good. Thank you, life. And so it is.